Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. That's where we're at, right? Joe and Jay. Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
I think it's still Joe and Jay.
It's okay. Until he replaces me. So there we go. Yeah. And
I
then,
will never.
if you are new here, welcome to the channel. And if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back and checking everything out. Our viewers have went up quite a bit. We would love if you love the content that we're putting out, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell and a thumbs up if you like it. And if you don't, what do?
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Yeah. If you don't like the episode, let us know, because we're putting out content based on what you guys want. So, all right. Yeah. What's this week's episode about, Joe?
This week, it's we're going to be talking about a GoFundMe for me. No, I'm just kidding. But it's similar. We're going to be talking about Big Pharma.
Yeah, that's the biggest GoFundMe there is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We're going to talk about the dependency that America has on our narcotics and what it costs us. Right?
In the end.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally. So
yeah.
It's going to be good. So make sure you guys come back and tune in, because I got a lot of crap to talk about.
Yeah. Congress.
Here we go again with our politicians.
Thanks for paying for it for us.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. All right, we'll see you back here in a few.
Let's do this. All right, welcome back. Here we go. All right, so how are we going to start this one off, Joe?
Well, most of you guys, I'm sure, that have gone to the doctor. Most of you guys have gone to urgent care or gone on that telemed or whatever, and, and a doctor writes you a script, and then you go out there and you pay a little copay and things like that. So
we love copays.
Yeah, right. So we've all dealt with the whole medical aspect of getting medication, right? You break a leg, you get pain meds and things like that. But what we're gonna talk about today is just like how Big Pharma has impacted us as a society, how it's impacted our pocketbook, and what they've done to the healthcare system. And a lot of people don't know this, but Big Pharma is I think, and we have to be careful how we say this, because people monitor these things, and if they don't like to hear something, we get removed. So you guys remember that there was a little ailment that happened a few years ago called the COVID-19? You guys remember that? So
we all remember that one.
Yeah. So because of that, we had, all of a sudden, all the market was flooded with vaccines, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was two major companies that produced the majority of the vaccines. One of them became extremely wealthy after COVID. Can you guess which one, Jay?
I'm gonna say Centrum or one-a-day vitamins.
Oh my God! Why are you even here today? Why do you make it difficult for me?
I don't know, Joe. Tell us.
I normally say this Pfizer, but the P is silent.
Pfizer.
It's Pfizer. Pfizer.
Why did they put the P so big on the
I know.
Pfizer?
I'm gonna put a P and then we're gonna silent it. So anyway, Pfizer, $100.3 billion is what that company's worth, right? The majority of their wealth came from the COVID-19 vaccine.
Yeah.
Which is still today being pushed by the left, right? Get your boosters, get this, get that, Right. I got one shot because of my job, and I went from being 6 foot to like 5 something, right? So
we're coming after you guys, just so you know.
Clearly there's some side effects going on. But one of the biggest things that we have to be careful about is the fact that Big Pharma, because of what it is, controls the price of narcotics.
Yeah, absolutely.
They corner that market, right? There's nothing out there in Congress that says, "Oh, we're gonna limit this. This is what you're gonna do, and this is how it's gonna cost." No, the government has no say, none. And if they did, they've been already bribed and given kickbacks to not say nothing, right? They'll give them a win here or there, right? But big pharma is powerful. I mean,
Absolutely.
they have politicians in their pocketbooks, right? And that's the scary part about big pharma, that they're able to control that market, which is, and I hate to say it, as a society, America is very dependent on drugs.
Yeah.
Very dependent. We are so quick. We go to a doctor, you need this, you need this. Here's a new drug, blah blah blah. Right? You go to see a healthcare professional, a mental health care professional.
Yeah,
You're borderline. You need to get yourself. Yeah, right. They are so quick to label children with ADHD or ADD or QRS or LGBTQ or trans, or
there's probably a pill for that too.
There is.
Well, there is. Now they're transitioning kids through pills.
So and all it is probably just a remolded Flintstone Kids tablet. Remember those?
Is it a chewable?
Yeah.
Does it taste like an orange?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's what they are.
But it tastes like Tang.
But do you see the problem behind that? Do you see the problem behind?
I see a huge problem with it.
So here's the other thing. So big pharma, and we're looking at big pharma from the Capitol Hill perspective, right? A big company dealing with government in that aspect. Let's take it down to the lower level, right? We've all been in a doctor's office, right? You go in there and you'll see it's like you're going to NASCAR, right? You'll see Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson, or right? They have all these ads for you're going through their ads and their magazines, and what's in there? Oh, Pfizer, try this new drug, for stress.
Doctor sponsors,
right? Exactly.
Pretty soon their white lab coats are going to have all kinds
of sponsors that this pen brought to you by Pfizer, right? And but here's the problem: these pharmaceutical companies, these big companies, right? They're some of them are not even in this country. And that's how they get away. That's another scary thing. They're being governed by another country,
right,
which might have very loose laws, but the drugs are coming here, right? So here's the other thing. So you look at these big companies that are out of the country or somewhere even in the country, and we'll get to that later about some of these. And they have representatives. Y'all heard of them. Those that work in the medical field, we're talking about drug reps.
Who these people are.
Yeah. They come into your office and they feed you, they groom you, they mold you, they fondle you, you let it happen. You don't even fight it anymore, right? They bring you
Don't fight it.
They do. They bring them food. They bring
food,
them, they'll bring, hey, how you doing, Sally? How's your kid?
Samples.
But before all that, they're befriending them, right? How's Sally? Everything's good. Oh yeah, how did her play come out? Blah blah. Hey, I brought you guys food from. Oh, I know you guys love the food from here. They'll bring them food, right? They bring them tickets to watch the Cardinals lose, the Turd Birds lose against anybody. Whatever the case is, they'll come and they'll give them all these gifts. But then here comes a rolling suitcase filled with samples.
Sample this.
Hey, so and what happens when you go to a doctor? They write a script. They'll give you a little sample. Here, this is a 1 week sample of this. Try this. Let me know how it helps. And then we'll write you a script with extended medication.
So why are you specifically writing a script for that thing
instead of a generic?
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Because they're getting paid by big pharma.
Well, or some kind of kickback, whether it's food, whether it's tickets to a Turd Bird game or whatever it is, right?
I guarantee you, if the doctor prescribes enough of this medication that they're pushing this month, the drug of the month, that he's going to get a large percentage, if you know what I mean, or a larger kickback like, hey, you're going to we're taking you and your girlfriend, not your wife, to Maui, right? That's what doctors do. Don't lie.
Don't hate us.
I used to be a doctor in Mexico, so I know these things.
Yeah.
But this is the problem, right? The second problem to that is patent protection, right? You know about that, right? So patent protection basically allows big pharma to monopolize certain drugs, right?
Absolutely.
In doing so, they cannot. There's no other competition, so no other company can make that drug at a cheaper cost and sell it because it's protected by patent, right? So that means they could put it. They could put a dollar amount to it. They could put the availability to it. They could do whatever they want because they own the rights.
A generic can't be produced for so many years, and sometimes that's a long time. So,
and in between that time, they've made themselves rich. Right. On water tablets.
Water tablets,
But tell me it's not wrong.
Yeah,
tell me that.
True.
Tell me that our society is not governed by narcotics. Like, I feel fat and bloated. Oh, here's a pill for that.
You definitely don't feel flat.
Clearly, I don't feel flat. But there's water tablets,
There's
right?
pills
There's
for that.
medications. Now there's this drug that helps you lose weight. It eats something, probably your good genes. I don't know. There's anything that you need for, they have it.
It eats your bones. You don't need those anymore, anyways.
It's just soft tissue. but you know what I'm saying? It's like it's horrible to think that we are at the mercy of big pharma when it comes to. They have literally, and I say this, and I believe this 100%. They have literally destroyed our healthcare system in the United States,
100%,
because we're so dependent on them that they've controlled the market now. And now, hey, I'm just gonna. You know what? If I write script for 100 of these damn tablets, I'm gonna get this much money. They're gonna give me a percentage of this,
or a trip, or
whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? And now all you're doing is like, this kid really doesn't need it, but you know what? It's not going to hurt him.
Yeah. Well, you think about it. What is that? That's a legalized drug dealer. That's all you are. Yeah. And the thing is that if you think about things like oxycodone, right? So what is the stuff that's being,
people love their oxycodone?
What's being pushed on the streets right now?
Blues.
What's that?
Blues. Yeah, which is the
Blues Clues.
Blues are called blues. Yeah. It's oxy.
Yeah. So it's so where did that stuff come from? It's not some crackhead in a basement came up with that stuff, right? This is big pharmaceutical, right? Made this stuff. How did it get to the streets? It was pushed by doctors. And then once people, the right people saw that this was an addictive drug that could keep people in whatever state they're looking for, down or upper, doesn't matter. Whatever is this state that people enjoy for whatever reason being in, there's folks in the, out there that said, hey, these folks are getting addicted to this and they got to go to the doctor. Why don't they come to us on the streets? We can do it for a lot cheaper, right? We can cut this stuff down. We can sell it to them. And there we go.
You know what's funny though? Let me just say something funny about that. You get addicted to like these drugs. Guess what? You go to a doctor, they have to give you another drug to get off that addiction.
Yeah, that's right.
That's funny. Sorry.
They just push drugs on drugs, right?
I don't mean to laugh of the
issue. It's
a
serious issue
of the addiction part of it. It's just funny how we've come into this belief that we need big pharma.
Yeah.
That we become so dependent on narcotics because this is the push and there's no regulation, like none. Like the government has just ceased to exist when it comes to big pharma. Right. And that's the scary part of it is that, you got all the, it's bad enough that we have a drug problem in America with not just illegal drugs. I mean, we have the marijuana, we have the cocaine, the speed, the fentanyl. We have all these things that are now flooding our market. On top of that, we have to deal with the drug pushers of big pharma.
Right.
I mean, like, at what point does our government step in and say, you know what? We're going to regulate this because you guys are out of control.
Right. And you mentioned another one, fentanyl, which is a huge one. So this is a great segue right now into you guys join us mid-month Wednesdays for Outspoken Men's Edition. Yeah. So, and we go over a lot of this stuff with addiction and all those kind of things. So make sure you tune in and So back to our regularly scheduled program. So fentanyl is a big one. The same thing as oxy. Where did it come out of? Came out of a lab.
I'm like saying, why are you looking at me? I didn't to give it to you.
Why are these pills on this desk right here? No, I mean,
and why are you cutting them up?
Yeah. And where did that get first hit on the streets from? Doctors prescribe that stuff. So how crazy is that a couple of the things that are on our streets today that are a nightmare for us to try to figure out how to get rid of, we're blaming Mexico and it coming across the border. And that is a horrible thing in itself.
Damn Mexicans.
But why did that start in the first place? Like fentanyl came out of nowhere. How did that happen? Well, because we started it right here, our own pharmaceuticals. And like Joe said earlier, who knows where that originally came from, if that came from another country or what have you.
China.
A lot of stuff is coming from China. So we have another deal that we're going to go through. We're going to take it way back to World War II. But before we go that far back, I'm going to take it back to about the late 80s, maybe mid to late 80s, early 90s, when the AIDS epidemic was going on. Right.
Yeah.
And when that was happening, France had a experimental cure and all that they had come up with, and they were giving it out to people, and they were having a good results with it, helping people, slowing down the process, helping them, just everything in general. When asked of the United States, hey, are you guys going to release this to the public over here? What was said? No, we haven't done enough studies and everything on it to allow it to be, used in the United States. We still have to do a bunch of testing and, trials and all that kind of stuff on it. Now, why is it that something that was killing people, right? And you knew in those days, if you contracted AIDS, you weren't going to make it, right? 100%. It was 100% kill ratio. You might live a little bit longer than other people, depending on how well you took care of yourself, but it was 100% that you weren't going to make it. And we said, no, we got to test this medication before we give it out to people, right? So fast forward, and we have the great pandemic of 2020 that comes smashing down, right, on us. And this at warp speed, literally, was brought out to the public. Now, here's the funny little caveat here with, so we all know that this was pushed in 2020 for everybody to get the vax, right? So before that, in 2019, Mr. Trump was president. Daddy Trump was president, and he enacted warp speed to get the pharmaceutical companies to get the move on and try to get something set up as quick as possible. People such as Kamala Harris and others specifically said in public, recorded, we've got it, that they would not take anything that Trump had any part of, getting out to the public. It's fine. It's your prerogative. You want to take it. You don't want to take it. Right. As soon as 2020 hits,
it's so funny to me still.
As soon as 2020 hits, you have a whole other administration that jumps into office. They take over the exact same need to get that stuff to market. And guess what happens? All of a sudden now it's okay, and you have to. It's almost against the law. You're going to lose your job if you don't take it. And here we are. So why is it that a pharmaceutical drug was used as a political pawn? Why was that? Well, because a lot of people made a lot of money off of this. And so these are these kind of things that we worry about with the big pharmaceutical companies. They don't necessarily have your best interest in mind. There are a lot of doctors out there that try to do things like, homeopathic medicine that, trying to do it with natural means instead of using these pharmaceuticals and things. And just like Joe and I were talking about earlier, we were kind of laughing about it, and we're not laughing at folks that have anything. So please don't take it that way. What we're laughing about is how silly it is that if you have some kind of ailment, you take a pill for it, it's possibly going to give you another ailment that you now have to take another pill for. So if you look at things like statins, if you have like, what is that, high blood pressure, what have you?
Oh, yeah. I don't know why you look at me like that. Like, I have high blood pressure.
I don't take any of that stuff. If you have those, they cause all kinds of other issues down the road. They're really tough on your liver and all these kind of things. And I just want to let you guys know, you really need your liver. So instead of the doctor saying, listen, lard ass, you need to lose some weight and you need to maybe exercise a little bit more, get off the couch, not eat 15 bags of potato chips and the 19 bottles of
now that's a problem.
Diet Coke, stop doing the chocolate binging and all that kind of stuff. And we all know, whether you're proud of your weight or not or whatever, we all know what the right things are to eat, and
we choose not to do.
We choose not to do it. So, what are those things that are opening up in the area? The salad to go.
Oh yeah. I never see a car there.
So there's a salad to go next to what the heck is that place that I don't go to either? Sonic. The Sonic, like all the little bays are all full where everybody skates out to them, and there's the line around the block, and there's like one car in the salad to go.
Sad.
So guys, we have done this to ourselves, and the pharmaceutical companies are like, heck yeah, we get to make some money off of this, right? So and the doctors are incentivized, right? So again, kind of cruising back into the COVID days. We all know this now for a fact that hospitals were incentivized to get people to take the shot during that time if they were in the hospital. So, I mean, and if they would claim them as a COVID patient. So nothing else you can say that would make any sense other than people, companies, institutions are getting paid to, they're being incentivized and being paid to push all this nonsense from them. And they are so powerful. We made fun of it earlier, but pretty soon the doctors are going to look like NASCAR drivers. They're going to have patches and logos and everything all over their suits. So I know we were going to kind of go back a couple more years.
We were. So something funny that not funny, but interesting, I should say, that I saw on one of the social media, and I did a little research. I'm thinking, okay, because social media is kind of crazy. They'll go out there and they'll see something and
social media
and they'll spread it like it's gospel. Right. So I did a little research and it was about it is. Yeah. And I did a little research on
Kim Kardashian
on Bayer.
said it's real.
Remember Bayer?
Oh yeah, Bayer. Right. I love that paint.
There was a company that it was a dye industry company and it was a German one and it did chemical and pharmaceutical. It was called IG Farben. IG Farben.
I'm glad you said
IG Farben from Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Farfignugan.
So it was in 1925 they created a merger of 6 companies. It was AGFA, BASF,
yep.
Bayer, a German company called Chemische Fabrik Griesheim-Elkan.
Here we go again.
And some other ones, right? And so this company, they were focused on just different things. They did different, they created different chemicals and different medications and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
So the staff at Bayer, under the umbrella of IG Farben, conducted medical experiments on inmates in concentration camps.
Yeah.
Right.
Mainly women
at Auschwitz. Right.
Yeah.
And at the Mauthausen concentration camp. So they were given, so these people these females that were at the hospitals, right? They deliberately infected them with typhoid, tuberculosis, diphtheria, and other diseases, and they were given just these different drugs to see what happened. A lot of them had reactions because they were all experimental drugs, right, and they were all done on women. Well, they had circulation problems, they had bloody vomiting, painful diarrhea, they that had like fragments of the mucous membrane, right? I mean, it was just horrible.
Right.
And I think there were 50 of them that they tested originally. 15 died, right? 40 of the 75 tuberculosis patients were given, I can't remember what the drug is called, Rutinol died, right? So that was one experiment. For another experiment, they tested something else, an anesthetic, on 150 women.
Oh,
from Auschwitz.
That was this.
They paid him 150. I'm assuming, I don't know, rubles or Deutschmarks per woman.
Per woman,
right? Yeah. All whom died as a result of this research.
Every single last one of them.
The camp had asked for 200 per person. They wanted more, but Bayer had said that was too high. A Bayer employee wrote to Rudolf Haas, the Auschwitz commandant, that transport 150 women arrived in good condition. However, we were unable to obtain conclusive results because they died during the experiments. We would kindly request that you send us another group of women to the same number and the same price. So, this is just how, and I get
there
it.
You go.
This was Bayer again under an umbrella of
it was a different time.
IG Farben, right? But here's the thing: is back then, I mean, it doesn't matter, because doctors have to be neutral at one point. They took an oath, right? And I know I'm going crazy on right now. I'm playing that card, but if companies, pharmaceutical companies, were willing at that time to experiment on people with zero regards to life, you know, do you think that much has changed now?
No.
Yeah, we experiment on animals, but you think, let me tell you something, and this is just from and I think
human efficacy is a completely different thing from everything else. It really is.
But here's the thing. I think some of these military personnel, veterans, who I thank and respect, will be able to tell you that when they get deployed,
They're pincushions.
they get all kinds of shots. They don't even know what most of them for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They signed that contract.
Yep.
They belong to the government, and
That's
they're
right.
gonna take these shots, right? Because like, well, you're gonna be going to a foreign country. You got to protect you from this, and this, whooping cough, whooping butt, whooping. No, you know, whatever it is, and they just shot after shot after shot after shot. My kid got all kinds of shots, you know, and do we know what they are? Not, they don't even tell them.
Well, here's one of the crazy things. So there's some studies done on, you know, folks coming back from deployment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, if you come back from deployment and you went through, you know, active employment, wartime, so where you were shot at or had to be shooting, or even if you're not on front lines, you were still, you know, hearing stuff around you and everything. That's a very obvious thing for trauma, right?
Right.
Create where you can have PTSD or whatever down the road.
Right.
Now, why is it we still have soldiers coming back with PTSD that never have seen active deployment? Why would that be?
It's a good question.
Yeah. So that's a big question. Is are the, you know, we treat them as pharmaceutical pincushions, right? And they get to take all these experimental drugs and all this kind of stuff. And is any of that stuff creating PTSD? Because you think about it.
Well, here's my question: has any of that stuff been tested,
well,
or is it being tested by our soldiers?
Well, so pharmaceutical companies have to do all kinds of stuff. First, they do you know, different kind of trials all the way up to the final clinical trials, and that's when they start giving, it's safe enough to give to humans, and they can give some to humans, and then obviously the test subjects, the, what do they call them, controlled subjects, they will give them like saline shots, or I don't know what else they put in, that's just a plain stuff, to make sure that they're not having a reaction and see if they feel better or feel worse or whatever. And you know, those are the kind of things that they can do, those clinical trials, you know, with the military, and not have to worry about it so much. And who knows? I mean, we don't know what the you know, the fine print is on all that stuff. I mean, we could probably research quite a bit of it, but you know, that's the thing for all of us, to look out a little bit more for our, you know, girls and boys in uniform out there, to make sure that they're being safe. I mean, we're sending our kids out, you know, when they turn 18, sending them out to join the military. And,
Correct.
And I'm not saying joining the military is bad. I don't know if right now is a good time to want to send your kids into the military, but you know, it's always been a pretty good thing. You get college money and all these different kind of things. And if you got kids that are kind of turd birds, troublesome, you can get them in there. Maybe they can get a little bit of discipline while they're in there. But with that said, even the worst of worst kids that would go into the military, or anybody, they don't deserve to, you know, be poked full of a bunch of experimental nonsense that has not been tested. And, you know, to think about it, I mean, imagine you're in charge of a platoon or whatever it is, and you're like, hey, you're going into a war zone. We just pumped all your guys full of guys and gals full of all kinds of weird nonsense. And you get into the heat of battle and they start dropping like flies because they're sick, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a scary thought about it. And there was a lot going on during COVID times. I remember back in the, what was that called? Desert Storm.
Oh, yeah. Operation Desert Storm.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird sickness going on over there too, you know, when they were deployed. So,
I heard they probably use a lot of chemical agents during that time.
Yeah. Well, I know my stepbrother got Agent Orange, and it was really messed him up.
Yeah.
You know, pretty bad.
But here's the thing, and I go back to this big pharma is not being regulated. No. And I feel like our government's in bed with big pharma, right? Well, because that's they're one of their major paychecks that they get. I mean, come on, who could survive on $160,000 a year?
So here's one of the things. There may be some people out there that go, well, you guys realize that while they are researching and studying, and the chemists and all that are doing all their stuff, they're not getting paid, right? Because they have to come up with the formula and whatever
who
the
says they're not
pill
getting
and
paid?
whatever. Well, there you go. They are. That, because I guarantee you there's somebody out there that's going to say something to that effect. Just so you know,
They get grants.
Big Pharma gets grants and tons of subsidies from the United States government.
Subsidies.
You and I pay for drugs that are going to hit market and may never hit market, right? So there's a reason that there's always a big push on pharma. Now, I'm not going to knock all of it because there is some good stuff that's out there. There's some, incredible doctors and chemists and physicists and all these people that come up with everything that they need to. And, we've had some, I'm trying to think of his name. He was a big advocate of cleaner and healthy vitamins and drugs and stuff like Myron Wentz was his name. And he came up with the Epstein-Barr virus test kit.
Did you just say Epstein?
Epstein. Wrong Epstein.
Okay. I'm like,
So-
he gave Epstein a drug?
Yeah, he did. That's why I didn't make it.
Clear.
No, clear that. That's not the one. But yeah, this man, so he's one of the greats out there, right? He came out with a test to test against something, before they had no way to tell if somebody had this. So there was a way to do testing, and then he started his own pharmaceutical testing company and went through. And there's a lot of stuff that came out of that. I won't mention the companies, but I said them earlier in this podcast. Some of your biggest vitamin companies, I mean, they did independent lab testing on them, and they had salmonella, human hair, all kinds of garbage in these vitamins, right? Now, here's kind of a key thing, and I don't know how much is changing on this since the North American Trade Agreement. Now you have Trudeau up there in Canada.
Oh my God, that communist.
Yeah. So the Canadian version of the FDA,
Nooks.
they consider things like vitamins part of like our FDA is. So up there, you can't get regular over-the-counter vitamins unless they are approved by them. In this country, you don't have to have that. So the stuff you give to your kids, what'd you say, the Flintstones chewable, and I'm not knocking them, I'm just using them as an example, but those don't have to be regulated by the FDA. It's a vitamin, so it's not a drug, and it's pretty crazy. So that's
funny how they don't regulate things like that. They go into our children, but then they want to regulate like the healthy stuff, like plants and things that people use. That's crazy.
There you go. Doesn't that seem crazy, right? So those are some of the things, and that's why there's so many of these independent testing labs now. And if you're looking at like a lot of the vitamin companies, if you go into a Walgreens or CVS or wherever your places that you get vitamins from, Thrifties or online or whatever, are they even around anymore? I just remember the ice cream there. Of course I do. Of course
you do.
So there's different independent testing labs that have their certification labels on there, and research those. Don't trust them all. Look into it. It's just like every electronic device that you buy in the United States. Who does independent testing on that? UL Labs, Underwriter Laboratories, right?
I think vitamins, isn't it Good Housekeeping or something? Isn't there like a little Good Housekeeping sticker on there?
On vitamins, if there's like 3 or 4, that's really good because that's tested by 3 or 4 independent labs. And one of the good things you get, so the problem is those labs can't really say, hey, this one's good, this one's bad. They just put them on those. And so you can't go to their websites, because I've looked, you can't go to their websites and they tell you, hey, these are all the ones to get. These are the ones you don't want to get, because of liability and all that. They can't do all that, which is silly. We should start a website with good vitamins.
So what's the point of them testing them if you don't know the results of those tests?
Well, you do if you hammer into it, but they're not going to tell you whether. They're just going to give you the results of the test.
So you do get results.
You do get results of the test, but there's not like a green check mark and a red X kind of thing.
Right. It just tells you what's in it, and if it's okay, and then you have to do your own research on that.
Correct.
Right, so,
which I highly recommend if you're if you're sticking it in your body, make sure you do the pre-research.
Whoa,
I'll
bro.
let you
Sticking
I'll
it
let you
in
take
your
the next
body.
episode.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh.
This has gone out of control. If you're sticking it in your body, make sure it gets tested.
Yeah. I don't know if the FDA tests those either. Yeah. Who knows?
I don't think anyone does.
No. Well, I know who tests those.
I'm going to go with the independent company. Independent lab does that.
We're going to get a comment. I'm an independent contractor.
Could you send them to me? No, we cannot. Because then we can't use them after it's been used. That's nasty.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. Well,
Oh, man. That was a good one. That was good, man. Guys, do your research. The thing we say is, here's one thing I've always believed, and growing up Mexican, my grandmother and my mom are very into like herbs and teas and things like that. You know, even like natural stuff.
Marijuana.
Whatever. But okay, here's a quick thing. My grandma used to put marijuana in her alcohol and rub it in her arthritis, and it helped her.
Oh yeah.
But
soak it in the alcohol.
Yeah. But you know, we used to take like
That's
cinnamon. She'd boil cinnamon, put a little bit of honey in, and it was a tea for us, and that would help us with. I don't even know what was wrong with me. It's probably height. That's probably why I'm short. But anyway, there. You know, look into things before you, but don't just buy them. You see an ad and it's like, oh my God, look at all these things it does. Look at all the side effects, things that it does and tell you it does. So those are very important, especially if you're giving them to your children. Man, we can't afford to have our children being sick. We need to make sure that we know what we're putting in our kids. And you know what? Don't always go to drugs. Find alternatives, try alternative medication, alternative medicine. It's worked for many years for many people. I really would like to see our country kind of move away from that dependency of drugs and narcotics to more of a free thinking, more natural way of healing ourselves. So, just, you know, food for thought, guys. That's all I have. What do you have?
Yep. Homeopathic medicine's the way to go, you know. We just need to eat better and drink better, and you know.
Now you're getting a little crazy. Eat better, whatever. For the birds. Okay. Now you're pushing it.
Just give me the drug. I don't want to have to deal with it.
Look, man, I'll just take the drugs and lose weight that way. All right.
Sit-ups or 2 pills a day. You got your answer from me already. So, yeah. Well, there are quite a few books out there on like Native American medicine and and things like that. I highly recommend you do your own research. We're not going to specifically put any one thing up here because we really feel like as individuals we need to do our research, because
absolutely
part of researching for the good, you're going to run into some bad stuff out there, right? And you're going to see that and you're going to research that a little bit and go, wait a minute, how the heck? Just like Joe told the whole story. I mean, we talked about this last week about the bear company, and you know, it's nothing to be made fun of. The everything that happened with the Jewish folks back in World War II was horrific, and the fact that companies had no morals to take people, use them as lab rats, and have the audacity to asked for more after they had basically killed everybody that was a test subject, should tell you all you need to know about, you know, humanity and that us as human beings mean nothing when it comes to profit. So, you know,
no, you're absolutely right. And you know what? I just wish that people really kind of looked into just like big pharma in general. I would suggest that even going as far as to lobbying your local representative and let them know, it's like, hey man, what are we doing about big pharma? What are we doing about the prices, about driving them down, helping society, helping us do better in general. So just do what you can, folks, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your family. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Jay, that's Joe, and this has been Joe and Jay Outspoken. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment, and share. All that stuff helps the channel quite a bit. So, yeah, hopefully you guys learned something about the whole pharma industry and you look into it and, you know.
Don't take our word for it.
Yeah, not at all.
It's on the internet.
It's all out there. You can trust everything on the internet.
Don't trust them. Trust us.
Yeah, trust us. We got your back.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I don't know who's got my back, but
Later. All right. Well, everybody, remember, be good to one another.
Do better, be better.
And as always,
God bless America. We'll see you soon.
See ya.